First session of the year. We've got kids involved as well. Fantastic. Hopefully the kids will like some of these dishes, but otherwise they're just for you. Mark's cooking with his son, and his son's going to be taking all this food, right? Or is he going to leave you some?
I don't know if he will.
We'll see how good it is. We'll see how good it is.
Okay, well, oven's preheating, hopefully.
Yes, it is.
We're going to start with the granola. So you want jumbo oats for that. Why do you want jumbo oats? Well, the finer oats that are for porridge, or oatmeal as they say in North America, they fall apart and they go mushy. We don't want them to go mushy, so that's why we're going to be using even this brand, which is a really good organic Irish brand, the same packaging, but one of them says porridge, one of them says jumbo. So jumbo is what we want for making our own granola. So we are gonna you can just grab the tray that you're gonna cook them in. So it needs to be a deepish tray. If it's not non-stick, then line it with greaseproof paper or with foil, and then chuck your oats in there. So that's probably all I got space for, so I'll leave these ones here for later. So I love making granola, because then I know exactly what goes into it. You can buy so many granolas these days, and some of them are really healthy. They cost like £4 per packet. And they still got sugar in them or something. So this way we can really control how much sugar we take in. So I've got about 500 grams roughly of oats. And to that, we are going to add avocado oil. So you need about a half a cup of avocado oil. But what I suggest we do is we mix the oil and the maple syrup, if you're using maple syrup, separately first, because that way we can mix everything together. So we've got the 500 grams of oats, to which we're going to add a half cup of oil in a separate bowl. So avocado oil, don't use olive oil, obviously, because it's just going to be bitter, but you can use other oils. But as you know, avocado is my favorite. Now, depending on how sweet you like it, it actually tends to go, it tends to go less sweet once it's cooked, which is a bit strange. So if you like it sweet, you need to go half cup of maple syrup. If you like it less sweet, if you don't mind too much, if it's not too sweet, then you could just do a quarter cup. So half the amount. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a quarter cup of maple syrup and then half a cup of oil. And then you want to add some salt. So this is kind of important. A pinch or two of salt will just balance things a little bit. Unless you're using salty nuts, then you don't want to be adding the salt. So have you got plain nuts, or have you got salty nuts to add later?
We got both, but we couldn't get the jumbo oat, chef. We just got the regular.
Those are jumbo. Those are jumbo.
Oh,
you can tell because you can see the whole thing. The whole
oh, okay.
Oat. So you got the right stuff without wanting to.
That's yeah, right. Then, it's the same thing.
We're gonna whisk this mixture up.
500 grams, you said. About how much volume? How much volume of oats? A cup, question. 2 cups?
No, it's more than that. It's probably about 2 to 3 cups, I would say.
Okay.
2. It's probably 2 cups.
2 and a half a cup of oil.
Yeah, I mean you can always add more. And then I'm going to add all that mixture together, and we're stirring everything together. You really want those oats to be all coated in your mixture. Use your hands if you want. It's going to get a bit sticky. I'm just going to use the fork. You can use a silicone spatula, would probably be the best thing to use, especially as we're going to need that later. So that's what I'm going to use now. So silicone spatula, you can really scrape the sides. And you want to make sure you're using a tray where the oats can almost be flat, almost a single layer. If they're a little bit loaded up, that's fine. We're going to sort of mix them halfway through, but you don't want one big pile. You don't want a really deep dish. You want it with a little bit of a lip. Right, and then once all the oats are coated in the oil maple syrup mixture, you can either add your nuts, depending on which nuts you have. If you got, you know, really heavily roasted nuts that are quite brown already, you don't want to be adding them now. But if you got things like almonds, hazelnuts, blanched hazelnuts, they could go in. What I like to do is I like to cook the oats like this first, for about 15 minutes. And we're going at 180 degrees for 15 minutes. And then we're going to mix them. And then we can add our nuts. We can add our dried fruit right at the end, really. If you got desiccated coconut and you like that, you can put that in. Pine nuts is quite nice, sesame seeds, but it's really optional. So you can just start with this and you can always add everything else later. So this is what I got. You know, it's half a nail deep, really. It's not very deep at all. And that's going in. But what's really important is that all the oats are covered in the oil maple syrup mixture. Let's put a timer on. Y'all ready? Couple minutes. That's shopping this stuff. There we go. So, we are gonna crack on with the other things that need cooking, which is the lentils and the chia seeds. Have you all got a cooked protein, or does your protein need cooking?
Yeah, I don't have any protein cooked.
So you got, like, did you get chicken breasts or what did you get?
Thighs. I like thighs, so we got thighs.
Okay. So, you know, just prepare them any way you'd like to and bung them in the oven as well so they cook in the air fryer if you got the air fryer. Stephen, what have you got for protein?
Yeah, I've got some chicken. I've actually got a little bit of leftover roast chicken from lunch I could use, or I can cook off some chicken we've got as well.
Oh, if you've got leftover cooked chicken, that's
Yeah.
what I'm using basically
Cool.
to use it up. So I've got, you know, leftover roast chicken, and I'm just going to cut that up and portion it up. I've also got some leftover beef. So, this is, you know, again, I'm incorporating leftovers and fresh food where it counts. So we're going to get our quinoa on. So, and lentils. So you need two separate bowls for this, pots for this, unfortunately, because the way the cookie crumbles. So one thing I don't think I added on the list, which maybe would have been nice, is coconut milk. Do any of you have coconut milk at home in a tin? You do, okay.
Hey man, don't worry.
I'm just having a look if I have it, because that'll make the curry that much nicer.
So we need to get 2 pots going with a bunch of water, chef, boiling.
Sorry, you want to get 2 pots on with water and your quinoa and your lentils in each one.
How much quinoa? How much lentils, volume wise?
So for we're doing 2 portions of the chickpea salad and 2 portions of the lentil curry. Now, if if Aiden's going to be taking some of them with him, and you want some of them, you may want to do half a cup of each item per portion. So I'm going to be using 1 cup of lentils, 1 cup of quinoa, and that's going to give me 2 pretty big portions. So if you want to double up on the quinoa, if you got enough for 2 cups, that'll yield a lot.
Want to do that, buddy?
You know, quinoa easily keeps a week, so you cook it once, boom, done.
Okay.
You want to get your water boiling so you can quickly pour that over. So I'm using mixed quinoa just because that was more interesting, and I had a look at the back of the packet, and so just white quinoa has actually got less protein and same amount of protein but less fiber. Mixed quinoa seems to have more fiber, so that's desirable.
And we got to get the water boiling before we add the quinoa and lentils.
No,
right?
no, you don't. No, it doesn't matter. It just speeds things up if the water's already boiling, but really doesn't. It's not a necessity.
Okay.
But you want to make sure that those are well covered, that the quinoa is well covered. And then lentils. Resealable bag, they say. So I'm doing, a cup of quinoa, a cup of lentils. Dong, dong. Yeah, everything's
Quinoa, baby.
So I'm using orange lentils. What lentils are you guys using?
Orange, yeah.
Okay.
I
so
did
orange, 1 cup I'm doing, but you might want to do 2 cups so that you get to have some.
Okay.
Now, orange lentils cook really quickly. Green ones take a little bit longer and stay a bit crunchier, but these ones are going to go quite mushy. And with both the dishes, we're going to cook them. As soon as they're boiling, we're going to drain them and then top up again with boiling water. So make sure you have plenty of boiling water ready, guys.
Should a guy rinse the lentils or no?
Well, no, that's the thing. This is a shortcut. We're bringing them up to the boil, then we're going to rinse them, and we're going to top them up with fresh hot water.
And 1 cup of quinoa, chef?
I would do 2 if you're having some and Aiden's having some. If you got enough Tupperware, that is.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know what we do.
All right. So no salt or anything. You just bring them up to the boil, and then in the second session of boiling, that's when we're going to be adding the seasoning. Okay. What's next? Stir fry. So you're cooking your meats already, aren't you?
Correct.
Ours is already cooked. It's staying cold. So I'm just gonna. We're really loading our bases today. If you got your wok, then grab your wok. If you don't have a wok, use a big frying pan or a skillet. Want to get that hot. And this is where you want to grab your random vegetables. So what vegetables have you all got?
We got it all, I think.
What, as in the broccoli, the burger?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Sandy got your whole list except for the Chinese 5 spice.
Wow, amazing. Well, I've just got like a leftover courgette. I've got some carrot sticks,
zucchini,
got some onion, and that's it. So that's all I'm using. But if you've got more, then you want to be just chopping it up real fine, okay? So we're stir frying it all. We're going to leave it a little bit crunchy. So you want to get your wok really hot, and while your wok is getting hot, that's when you cut up all your veg. I got all these leftover carrot sticks. I'm just going to cut them up a bit finer. What veg have you got, Stephen?
So we've got some broccoli, some carrots.
and like Julian.
Are they peeled or are they all whole?
They're all whole. We've got a few chopped up and already cooked bits, but also some whole ones as well.
Okay, so they can go in at the end. Well, the broccoli, you want to break off the florets, maybe cut them in half.
Yeah.
And the carrots, you can either peel them and then slice them, or wash them and then leave the skin on and then slice them. And I'm basically just slicing them into little sticks like this. If you got you know, handy home mandolin, one of these jobbies, then you could just mandolin them all. That's, you know, a quicker way of slicing them, but you got to be really good with it. Basically what you're trying to do is just trying to get thinner bits of the veg so that they cook more quickly. So yeah, it works better with a whole carrot. Mine's not going to work very well because I haven't got a whole carrot. I've only got these little sticks, so I'm going manual. But if you got a gadget, that's going to help. And so I'm going to cook the carrot first because that's going to take the longest to cook, just like that. So as soon as you got some carrot ready, you throw it in the pan and you add your avocado oil, plenty of it because it's going to soak it all up. And then you just keep cutting. And this is where if Aiden can help, he can cut as well. I don't think your assistant can help you cut, Stephen.
She desperately wants to.
One day, Evelyn.
Aiden's on the mandolin right now, so hopefully he doesn't add any extra flavor.
Oh, extra protein, you mean? Yeah. Flavor and protein. Well, you're all family. So yeah, I'm just throwing these in just as and when.
We got onions too. Should we fry up the onions and carrots as
So
well?
how many onions have you got? How many onions have you got?
We got lots of onions, big white ones.
Lots of onions, exactly. So you want to chop up one onion and throw it in the stir fry as well, or two even if you're doing a lot of veg. I'm just going to do the one onion.
Can I do the other side?
There you go, buddy.
What's your knife? Greg, should these lentils come off the heat now?
The lentils have boiled, have they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to grab them, strain them, and then top up again with boiling water.
Okay.
You might want to just quickly rinse them if they've got a lot of scum on them, like mine just did. I'm just going to give them a quick rinse in hot or cold water, it doesn't really matter at this stage, and drain that off, and then back in, and then top up with hot boiling water again. And you want it just covered. You don't want too much water because we want those lentils to just absorb that water. And then we're going to add in our coconut milk if we're doing coconut milk. If you're not doing coconut milk, you can have a bit more water in there. And at this stage, you're also adding the salt. So a couple of pinches of salt go in. I've got some random bits of cauliflower that are sort of here. So they're going in. Boom. And then we toss in the wok or toss in the pan so they get nicely coated in everything. I'm just going to put one onion in, red onion or shallot or yellow onion. It really doesn't matter. I like to always have red onions because especially the red onions that I suggested, they're going to be great in the Greek salad that we're making in a bit. There's definitely a lot of chopping in this class today. Because we've got a lot of fresh vegetables, and you know, the vegetables you just always have to do a bit more chopping. And so, you know, depending on how quick you are, you've done the ninja knife skills training, or if you've been on here for a while, it might take you more or less time. You don't have to finely chop the onion as well. You can also just go slices like that. So tack, 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 tack. That way you're not chopping in two directions. You're just doing these little segments like that. See, little just like that. That's good enough. That can go in the stir fry. Doesn't need to be finely chopped because the carrots are going to take a while. So if the onion takes a while, not a big deal. Now you may want to chop an extra onion for the curry. Quite nice to put some onion through the curry, but again, it's not essential. I've got like a half a shallot here. I'm going to throw that into my curry in a bit. So for the curry, though, I am going to cut it a bit finer. Need a sharp knife. There we go. So my quinoa is boiling as well. Yours might be as well. I'm going to drain my quinoa. Rinse it. And top up with boiling water. How are we doing, folks? Chopping, 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 no finger chopping, right? Along on the 1 minute on the granola. This is why it helps to have a big chopping board. You've got lots of space on that for the different things we're doing. Right, that's the timer going on the old granola, right? So make sure you rinse your hands so you don't have onion flavor on your granola. But we're just basically going to stir it. So taking my spatula, and it's quite moist. And it should, if your granola shouldn't have any color yet. If it's got color, you might want to turn the heat down a little bit, but we're just stirring it. And it should start to go a bit crunchy. But the goal is really to get the outer crunchier bits into the center and the softer center bits out to the exterior. So I've just given that a nice little stir and rebalance, and then it goes back into the oven another 10 minutes at this stage, and then we check it again. So I've also got a courgette. I'm going to put that in last into my stir fry because that's going to cook really quickly. So I don't know about you guys, but my lentil almost absorbed all the water. When that point is reached, I'm going to add in my coconut milk, or I've got cream actually, so I'm going to be using cream. So cream is a bit more calorific, but it's thicker. It's a block, basically, the cream that I'm using. How much? About half a cup, I would say. Maybe even a bit less. So we had 1 cup of lentils. They tripled in volume. And so just under a cup of the cream, or a full can of the milk. But it's not essential. As I said, I didn't have it on there. It's just a nice to have. It'll make for a nice, slightly creamier curry. But you could also add sour cream, creme fraiche, yogurt. You could add some yogurt to your curry if you like. That'll make it nice. Right, I'm just going to get my courgette ready, and I'm just chopping it, zack, zack, zack. Just keep it simple, right? It doesn't have to be beautiful.
Should have Aiden cut up some broccoli now too, or no?
Yeah. So you definitely want to be picking off the leaves of the florets and cutting them in half, so you increase the surface area, and they go on top of the carrots.
Okay.
What other veg did you guys get? Everything on the list, you said, right? So let me see.
So I thought we had courgettes, but we don't have them. But we got
you got bell peppers and snap peas. So the bell peppers next, and then the snap peas last.
Yeah.
So as soon as you chop them, you add them on top. So we're basically layering it up. Right, my curry is getting thicker and thicker by the minute. I'm gonna switch it onto a slightly lower flame, so it buys me a bit more time. But I want to stick my onions in there. Ideally, you want to fry the onions, but I'm just gonna boil them with the curry. Be nice if you don't mind dirtying another pan. you could just fry your onions, get them a little bit tastier. But I'm just throwing them in there with my curry. So that's all cooking away.
Yep. Just cut it up nice and small. And these two, cut these in half.
Make sure you add some salt to your stir fry if you haven't added it yet. So a good 2 pinches of salt. Then we want to prepare ginger and garlic. Okay, we need it for both the curry and the stir fry. So we're doubling up here on the ingredients. Peeling the ginger. I'm using a spoon just to peel off the skin on the outside, and then I'm going to mince it using my microplane like I like to do. One thing I learned is don't keep the ginger in the fridge. So this one I kept in the fridge and it goes really soggy. You're supposed to keep ginger and turmeric outside in a cool, dry place. So I kept one in here, and that's much drier and fresher and easier. So
I keep it in the freezer, chef. That's what I do. The ginger,
well,
and then run it through a microplane.
If you don't have a cool, dry place, then the freezer's the next best thing. But ideally, you want it in a cool, dry place because then it's always ready to go.
Okay, thank you, chef. How much garlic?
Lots, exactly. I would say 2 or 3 cloves per dish. So 2 or 3 for the stir fry, 2 or 3 for the curry. And you want to mince it all up, and then don't add it to the stir fry yet. If you're boiling your curry, then you can throw it all in there, or as I said, in a separate pan. I've actually got this cute little tiny frying pan. So I'm going to put my ginger and garlic in there just to saute it a bit. It's just that little bit nicer. Okay.
Real quick, chef, sorry to ask this again. So when I cooked the lentils, I drained it, strained it, rinsed it, and then I put it back in, and then I just put in water to cover it. And it's boiling now, but it's not absorbing any water. And same thing with the quinoa. I did exactly the same. There's still quite a bit of water in there.
In the lentils or in the quinoa?
Both.
Yeah, the quinoa, you want lots of water. They need to cook in plenty of water. The lentils, you want them to absorb the water. Are they still hard, or are they soft and loads of water?
Oh yeah, no, they're still hard.
Okay, well then cook them a bit harder, as in faster.
Okay, it's boiling.
It's boiling. Okay, well, they just need a little bit longer. Once all that water's absorbed, you have your can of coconut milk, if you've got one, ready, and pour it in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right, ginger, garlic, mincing time.
Cut them in half.
So I'm actually going to mince and cook my garlic and ginger all together for both the dishes, and I'm just going to split it in half. So I'm just going to add it all to the frying pan.
Buzz up those broccoli ends when they're off.
I think we can go a bit higher on this, right? And then you can see even better. No, you can't. My quinoa is almost done. Need a little toss to make sure your onions and your carrots are being tossed so they don't burn. I'm going to add in my courgettes. That's going to cool it down a little bit.
Should we have the lentils and quinoa covered? No, not maybe the lentils or maybe the quinoa.
No. You want it boiling away so you can keep an eye on it in this case. You're going to be able to see it all. Right, ginger going into my frying pan, suck. You can't really see this frying pan, it's just hiding there. Right, I'm going to switch off my curry. My curry is pretty much done. We haven't added the curry powder yet, though, but we're going to be adding the Madras curry powder. One garlic, 2 garlic. Ooh, a lot of garlic.
Oh, I'm doing the garlic too. Okay, good. Awesome. What's beeping? Do you hear that?
All right, there we go. So that garlic going in. Bah. Enough garlic? No, I need more garlic, more garlic. Garlic is so good.
Love it.
I don't know, I've got so many clients who say they're allergic to garlic, and it's BS. You know, they just don't like the aftertaste or the smell or the social implications. Some people can't digest onion very well, but it's such a such a small amount. It really shouldn't affect people as it does. And if it does, then there's something wrong with their gut. Stephen, do you ever have any cheeses with wild garlic?
There is one cheese called Cornish yard, which comes wrapped in wild garlic leaves.
Oh, okay. And that's probably quite a strong taste.
Yeah, it's not one we have regularly, to be honest. It's a little bit of an acquired taste. Yeah, obviously you can get ones in the supermarket. They've got like garlic infused sort of, goat roulades and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's normal garlic, not wild garlic, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the roulades are probably more like a nicer version of boursin.
Yeah, we did actually do a cheese last year. We took a French triple cream cheese called Delice de Bourgogne. Ooh. And we added in some wild garlic pesto and into that.
That must have been amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah, it was a real talking point. It was really balanced as well. We got the levels just right.
Right, I need more oil in my stir fry because things are burning. My garlic and ginger is sizzling in this little pan here. And then I'm going to split it across the two. Now, let's see where the vegetables are at. All right. It's granola time. Oh, yeah. Look at that. There's perfect golden color. There's the camera. Where's my spatula? Here. So my granola is almost done. And at this stage, you want to be adding your nuts. If you got, dried cherries, you can add those, raisins. Pine nuts is really nice. So what am I going to add? Walnuts are fantastic in that. Some flax seeds. So if you got flax seeds, I think I said flax seeds or sesame seeds. So I'm adding like a teaspoon of flax seeds, teaspoon of sesame seeds. You really add what you want. I've got black and white sesame seeds. So the black ones, you can actually see them. The white ones, not so much. But both need a bit of toasting. So I'm just going to finish it off, the last bit. And find the white sesame seeds. Where are you? MIA. There they are. White sesame seeds. That's so delicious. Sesame seeds in granola is a real revelation for me. Now, if you have some salty nuts, then you could add those. I'm going to add some seeds. I've got some seeds here. So pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Boom, they're all going in. And I'm going to just put that in for another 5 minutes. It's quite golden already, but that's just going to toast those nuts. Cashew nuts, also really nice. Peanuts, all really nice inside a granola. Right, my ginger garlic mix is done. So I'm going to put half of it in the stir fry and half of it in my curry. So at this stage, your vegetables should almost be done. I mean, mine are really dark, caramelized. The carrots have got a bit of crunch to them. They're not too soft. The latent heat's going to finish cooking the peppers and the sugar snap peas. When you add them in, the latent heat's going to finish cooking them. We want to be adding our Chinese 5 spice at this stage. If you got it, if you haven't got Chinese 5 spice, you could use garam masala. Mark?
Okay.
I'm adding about a half teaspoon of Chinese spice. Yeah,
To the vegetables, chef?
to the
To the
vegetables. Yeah. Ah, there. Whew. Very hard to open. So I'm just doing it by eye. Boom. That goes in, and then you want to toss that. You know, so if you got cinnamon or garam masala or cumin, you can any of those you can add in. That'll make it just that little bit more interesting.
Add it all on.
And then I'm adding curry powder to the lentils. So I've added about a quarter teaspoon or half a teaspoon will do. I'm adding a little bit more water to my lentils because they've gone really dry and I want them a little bit creamy. That was the point. And salt, check the salt. So my quinoa is fully cooked now. So all the water's gone. And I can see, you should be able to notice when the little seeds of quinoa pop and they open up, that's a clear sign that they're cooked. And obviously if you bite into them, they should be soft. Right. Did you have a question, Stephen?
No, no.
All good? So what do we got here? We've got the stir fry. So my stir fry is pretty much done. I'm going to add a little bit of soy, a little bit of sesame right at the end. So make sure that all your vegetables are cooked before adding the soy, before adding sesame oil. So sesame oil you could add before, but that little bit of moisture, about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, will just make steam that's going to finish cooking the vegetables. And then about half a teaspoon of sesame oil. Sesame oil is not really for cooking. It's just for seasoning. It's going to add that nuttiness. And so, you know, I've still got latent heat in my pan, and that's causing the soy sauce to reduce a little bit. But that's done. Taste it. It should taste delicious. If it doesn't taste delicious, add salt. So a touch of cider vinegar, if it's quite rich, will help cut it. So I'm just going to add a touch of cider vinegar and a touch of honey. So we're adding that sweet and sour element. But I mean, literally a minute amount of maple syrup. I've got it because I got it right here. I'm going to add about a teaspoon or less of maple syrup, and that all gets mixed together. That's our stir fry done. I'm going to let it cool down. So once it's cooled down, we're going to cut up our chicken or any of our protein. We're going to portion up the vegetables, spread them across 2 or 3 containers, put the protein on top, and then that's our protein dish done. Let's check on the granola. You don't want that to burn now at the final stage. No, it's still going okay. Still got a couple of minutes, maybe 2 minutes, and then granola should be done. We're just going to let that cool down as well. So, curry. Curry often needs a lot of salt to make it taste nice. So make sure you're using the good quality salt as always. All right, mine's quite creamy now. I've got my cream in there, and I've added some extra water. Now, if you got some fresh coriander, you could chop that and mix that through. The lentil curry is, you know, it's a little side for extra protein, something creamy and starchy as well. Right, what's next? Next is the the egg muffins or the egg omelettes. So your oven should still be on. You still got your granola. So we're going to leave the oven on. And we are going to, if you got a muffin tray like this, that should come in handy. If you don't, show me what you got and we'll see if we can make it work. Ginger garlic done. Don't need that anymore. Pack it away. So have you got a sort of muffin tray, Stephen?
I have, yeah, but I think my agar's too hot, so I'm just going to watch this rather than do it because the granola burnt within about 5 minutes flat. So I'm not.
But that's fine. That's all they need, really. My granola's gone. Done. Is your granola okay?
No, it's burnt to a crisp.
Burnt to a crisp. Oh, damn. It's really hot. It should have like 2 or 3 compartments, no?
It has 2. One that's raging hot and one that's not hot enough. So,
right. Oh, so the timings are completely off then. Yeah, for an agar.
Never mind. No worries. I'll just keep watching.
You got some more oats? Well, no, I mean now that we know that the agar is way too hot, we can adjust.
Oh yeah,
the
I can
omelette.
adjust. So yeah, next time I make it, I'll know to adjust it.
So in a fan oven, comes out like this. So it's nice and brown. And I'm just gonna spread it out and let it cool down completely. You really want to let it cool down completely before you store it, because and you want to taste it. You can taste it while it's hot, but it's very hot. Really yummy. Oh, so the idea with the yogurt parfait is really just to take a couple of scoops of yogurt, a couple of berries, and then that homemade granola, and you throw it together as and when you want it. But you keep them all in their separate containers. But you got them handy. And that's, for me, that's a great snack because it hits the sugar, it hits the fatty element from the Greek yogurt, and you get the vitamins from the berries and also fiber. So often when I'm craving something sweet, it's often vitamins from fruit, I notice. So I'm craving something sweet, but if I have fruit, that usually satisfies me. And then if you have creamy as well, then that's the sort of, the creamy chocolate element or cheese. Some of us might crave cheese. Is it bedtime for Evelyn?
Bedtime.
Night. Sleep well, sweetheart. Right, Mark, are you ready for the egg omelette?
Just about. I don't want to lose focus on my granola. It's cooking nicely. It hasn't burnt at all yet. I just don't want to do that. But like the lentils, I'm surprised how wet they are still. Like, it's amazing. And that's what I just added a can of coconut. Pardon?
Can you show me what kind of red lentils you had? Maybe you had a different variety. Because the orange ones or reddish ones that we get here just cook so quickly. Yours cook really quickly, Stephen, right?
They did, yeah, but I've got like quite a big, I've got like a soup now because I think I put too much coconut milk in.
Yeah, those are the same ones we got. Okay. And they're taking a long time to cook. Interesting.
Yeah.
You got like a soup.
I've got like a soup, yes.
And you've added the coconut or you haven't had any coconut?
Added coconut, yeah.
Ah.
I've got like a soup.
Oh, have you tasted them, Mark? They look cooked to me.
Okay, I'm just surprised how wet it is still, Chef. Sorry.
Yeah, so drain some of the liquid off. If you haven't added the coconut, you can drain the liquid off. Now, if you have added that's gonna be. Let's see the rest of it, Stephen. Because by the time that cools, Stephen, that might be okay.
Yeah, no.
What does it taste like? Have you added the curry powder?
Yeah, they've got curry powder in. It might need a bit more, but
I think by either, so you got 2 options. You either let that cool down and it'll thicken a little bit, and then you're gonna have it a bit soupy, so you could have it as a soup, or you cook a separate batch of lentils with much less liquid, and when they're just done, you add them in.
Yeah, I think I'll just let this cool and see how we do.
Yeah. As long as it tastes good. You want to make, as long as it tastes
good. They're very mushy. They're mushy.
They are mushy lentils. Yeah. The red ones go very mushy. So yours are done, Mark.
Okay. I took them off and let them cool off.
So I mean, this is what mine look like, and I've added more water because they were a little bit too dry. But
Oh, wow.
they're really creamy, and that's, you know, they're mushy but creamy because of the coconut. Right, omelette time. So I've got these muffin trays. Have you got muffin trays like this, Mark?
Yeah.
Great. So we want to preheat them, bung them in the oven. If your granola is still in there, your granola should be coming out. It should be done by now. My quinoa is off as well. I don't know if your quinoa is still cooking.
No, it's done.
Right, so off the heat. Good. So eggs, we're gonna crack 12 eggs
Into a okay.
into a bowl. Yeah.
A big bowl, does it matter?
Yeah, you do. Well, it needs to fit the 12 eggs.
Yeah. That's
So, boom, one. I'm going to do a mixture of perfect brown, so I get that lovely omega-3, and then I'm going to do these British golden yolk from Lidl. They're a little bit cheaper, but they're also golden yolk, but they're not quite as bright as perfect brown, which is interesting. So it just shows that perfect browns really are the best. And then I've got 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've only got space for 10 in my bowl, so that's what I'm going to do. Take these to the bin. So the idea of this is basically just to have a slightly different. Oh yeah, we don't want to do all 12 eggs because we need some for poaching. That was it. So how many eggs have you cracked so far? How many have you cracked so far, Mark?
6.
Okay. Well, maybe stop there and keep the other 6 for poaching.
Okay, I got lots of eggs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same here. Well, then do a bit more because these muffins will keep as well, and they're basically it's just to make your brain think you're having a muffin, but you're actually just having egg and cheese and spinach. Are you cooking this as well, Stephen, or not?
You dump these eggs.
I'm just going to watch this because this is just way too hot. If I cook anything, it's just going to frazzle straight away. So
Okay. Is it because it's winter? Have you turned up the heat on the Arga?
I think we turned it up early this morning because we were doing a roast. We wanted to do Yorkshires and that, and it's come back. We turned it down, but it's such a slow thing to respond.
Of course, yeah. Which is good and bad, I guess. It's not great if you're trying to cook different things, but for a roast. So I'm adding salt in there. I've got some leftover brie. I've got some leftover gorgonzola picante. So just any leftover cheese, I'm just gonna basically dice it up. I'm not gonna add it yet to the thing because I'm gonna place it inside my muffins. So I'm just cutting the cheese into chunks that's gonna fit inside my muffin tray. A little bit of the brie, a little bit of the gorgonzola. I mean, leave the rind on there. The rind's obviously got good bacteria. Some cheeses you probably don't want to be eating the rind, and Stephen will tell us which ones.
Are we putting protein in here? Could I like dice up some ham?
Yeah, if it's nitrate-free ham.
If it's what?
Nitrate-free ham.
I'm not sure.
Did you make it yourself? No. No. So very often ham, if it's pink in color, it's had potassium nitrate added to it, which is a preservative agent. You consume too much of that, that can affect the health of your gut bacteria. So it depends how much ham you eat, how much salami you eat. If you eat it once a week, I think you should be fine. If you eat it every day or so, it's an issue. They're saying, now the latest is processed meats are the largest contributor to colon cancer. So I
Yep.
just don't eat salami,
Yep.
prosciutto, any of that anymore because most of them have got nitrate, potassium nitrate. Some of them don't. So
Yep.
look out for those.
Yep.
But otherwise, we're just risking that a few years down the line. It's not worth it. Even though it's so delicious.
Nope.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love prosciutto, but just in moderation. Right. I've got my hot muffin tray here. So I'm going to add oil, about a half teaspoon into each little compartment. So it's a little bit like making Yorkshire puddings, but that's just going to stop the eggs from sticking. I'm going to put that back in the oven while I get the spinach ready as well, because we also want to be adding some spinach. Did you get some spinach, Mark? Have you got baby spinach or have you got big ass spinach?
In between.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess if you're in the countryside, it is going to be in between. Great. So as long as it cooks quickly, and it's washed. Just checking if mine.
Okay.
No, mine's unwashed. I need to wash it. Because we're basically going to be putting it in raw. It's gonna cook with the eggs. Well, Stephen, you in the meantime, you can start chopping your tomatoes. If you got cherry tomatoes, you just cut them in half. If you got large tomatoes, you cut them into maybe 8 pieces. And we're making a Greek salad essentially. Cucumber, you're gonna cut it into half and then again in half, so you get quarters, and then chop them across to get little triangle wedges. Right, I want to get my my egg mixture into a jug because this is going to get messy. Too full. There we go. Bigger bowl might solve the problem. Now my trays with the oil in there. We want to pump it up to 200 the oven as well, and then we're going to pour our egg mixture almost.
Sorry, chef. I couldn't hear that last bit at all.
You pump up your oven to 200 degrees centigrade. You've got you take the tray out with the oil, and then we're going to pour them half full with egg. Whoa.
Okay, so we're not adding anything else yet. This is just egg and salt.
Egg and salt, correct. Make sure it's really well whisked.
Where are the chopped tomatoes used in? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
About half full, because you want to leave space for your spinach and your cheese. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to put 1 piece of cheese in each one. I'm going to put some spinach first, then cheese, because then the cheese will weigh it down. If you can do that. So spinach, a couple of leaves of spinach, and then the cheese. And then the cheese will weigh down the spinach.
Thank you, buddy.
So, don't be shy on the cheese. The cheese is going to melt. It's going to be absolutely delicious. I'm using, good quality cheeses. The Brie de Meaux is obviously unpasteurized. If you've only got cheap cheese, then maybe leave it out. If you've got Parmigiano or Grana Padano, that'll be quite nice, but it just won't have that melting quality. It's quite nice.
Chef, should we have the oil hot? Like, does it need to be hot?
So you add the oil and you put it back in the oven for 5 minutes, which is what I did, and then you take it back out again, and then you do this bit. Okay, and then back in the oven it goes at 200 degrees, and we're gonna see what happens. I see what happens because I ain't never done this before, so it should be fun. Wow, these are so fresh, the eggs, that the whites are just sort of flowing around. So we need to add them to.
I put the rest of this shit in the stir fry. We want to dump the rest of the stuff in the stir fry.
But we want that high heat so it cooks quickly.
Or you know what, here.
So, Stephen, you've cut your
Cook that.
cucumber and your
Yep,
tomatoes done.
yep, done.
Hang on. Let it get hot.
So this is going to be a salad. You want to do 2 or 3 of these.
Sure.
That'll last quite well throughout the week, and it's a really fresh salad. We're going to add the feta to that.
When it gets hot, throw it in there.
We're going to
Dump
add
it in
some red onion. We've got another red onion. We're going to add some lettuce chopped up if you want.
Oh, can't hear you, chef.
You can't hear me at all. How about now?
Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah, I was
There you are.
facing the wrong way. That's annoying. How it used to be all right. The microphone it's playing up a bit these days. So what's become really popular online is to get like old jam jars or Kilner jars, like these. So
Yeah.
I like to keep them, and then
Yeah.
use those as meal prep. So I'm gonna basically fill up a couple of these jars with the layers of tomato, cucumber, etc. And that's gonna be my meal prep for the week.
Anybody want to?
This isn't the Nutella jar. It just happens to look like it's got a Nutella stick on there. I don't know how I got on there.
Yeah,
But-
whatever.
I serve Nutella and like dirty brioche burgers to my customers, and that way they gain weight, and then they need to sign up to Cook Smarter and Harder.
I thought you sign him up. Draw him in.
But it's funny though. People like if I set up a healthy street food stall, I would not make nearly have as much business as if you have a burger and chips.
Yeah,
So I have a Tex-Mex
Couple
barbecue
spinach and then
where I do
some cheese on
slow
top.
cooked ribs and pulled pork burgers. But there's also burgers and fries on them. I mean, they always order the burgers and fries. They never go for the pulled pork, smoked meat section. It's just people just always order what they know. And that's
Sure.
really sad, I find.
I noticed that whenever I've done like food festivals and stuff, you get all the fancy stuff, but the big queues are at the burger vans.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Crazy.
strange.
yeah.
I mean, if the burgers are incredible, fair enough. But it's just box standard burgers. I mean, mine are pretty good if I may say so
Well,
myself.
don't get me wrong, you can't beat a really good burger. I bet yours are great, but
But you know, still, I'd rather be doing all the smoked meats. Right. So if you're doing the jars like I am, then you want to start with the harder vegetables first, like onions and cucumber. So if you're doing just plastic containers, like the Tupperware that we usually use, the ones I recommended from Costco, then it doesn't really matter because there's not much height, so it's not going to affect it too much. Right, and then as I said, we're cutting the cucumber in half, and then in half again, and then nice chunky dice. So we've got a quarter of a cucumber in each jar, like that. Boom. I was going to use the Nutella jar, but actually I don't need to. It's more of a joke. Red onion is really nice. A raw red onion. I thought I had one. Did I use it? I must have used it. Oh, that's annoying. So raw red onion. I'm just going to go get one. I'll be right back.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, must have used it.
Thank you, buddy. Try it. If you want to stir in anyway. Honey. I think so. That's pretty good. That's nice.
Can you still hear me? Can
Yep.
you still hear me? Yeah, great. Okay. So yeah, raw red onion should go in there as well. Same, I mean, a little bit less chunky, should be thinner.
What are we making? I'm sorry, chef. I was behind. I just got the eggs in the oven. What are you
Okay.
doing now? I'm sorry.
So we're now making a Greek salad, meal
Okay.
prep. So I've got these jars and we're just filling them. Or if you've got Tupperware, you're doing the same. So you start with the cucumber, then the onion, then the tomato. And we're not going to mix it. That's the key, really. You basically leave it layered up like that, and it's basically going to be. So I'm just cutting the onion into chunky 1 centimeter dice, but because an onion is layers, it's not going to be that big. Actually, I've only needed half an onion for those 2 jars, so half an onion remains. Tomatoes, also quite chunky dice. Tomatoes can be even chunkier, like bite size. Quite nice. I mean, the goal is to cut this quickly and in a way that suits your eating style. I take big bites, and so I like it big like that. So that's only 1 tomato so far. I'm going to do another jar. That way I've got a bit more, because easily eat one of these as a starter. Be gone. I think you might lose me for a second. Hold on. Right, we got sound, we got camera. Alrighty. Oh, that's good. We don't need that. We don't. Right, and then the idea was actually also to add chickpeas. So if you've got a can of chickpeas, hopefully cooked already, you want to be adding a layer of that in. So open up a can of whoop ass. I mean, this is going to be a lot of food, but that's it. You don't have to cook for the week, which was kind of the idea. Oh, I just thought of something. If you want to keep your chickpea liquid, you can soak the chia seeds in that liquid. Sounds weird, but that liquid has got a lot of protein in it, and the vegans love to keep it for aquafaba to make meringues and things. The vegans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I seen that they whip up the chickpea juices
Liquid.
and like almost like an egg white thing out of
Correct.
it. Yeah,
because it's got such a high protein content, it's like an egg white. So I unfortunately threw mine out, but if you remember to keep yours, you can add it to whoa, egg muffins looking incredible. Look at that.
what? Come on, that's not fair.
Why? What do yours look like?
Not like that.
Yeah, I mean, mine have just gone boom. They just exploded. Now I'm going to let them cool down. They're going to shrink massively, but they're done. I mean, the cheese is oozed out everywhere, so there's a little bit of fat. That's fine. I'm going to drain that fat off. That saturated milk fat. I don't want that really anyway. So it's going to end up with the lovely flavor of the cheeses. Mm. Mm. Oh, wow. Who'd have thought? Melted brie and gorgonzola.
Can't beat melty cheese. for
Sorry?
goodness. Can't beat melty cheese. It's the
No, you
business.
can't. I mean, those are not the typical melting cheeses, are they? But it kind of works. I mean, they needed to be eaten, so yeah. I love gorgonzola dolce. That's so soft and creamy.
Yeah, we spoon it into pots for people in the shop.
Ah, nice. Oh yeah, there's I saw so they do there's gorgonzolas mixed with truffle as well now, right? Has that always been a
I've not
thing?
seen that, but I'm not surprised because anything with truffle in just sells at the moment.
Yeah, so there was there's an Italian deli called Preso Molle, and they
Mhm.
have these big pots of gorgonzola dolce mixed with truffle. I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then yeah, the burrata with truffle is selling there as well.
Crazy.
True. Even Lidl are selling truffles. Two truffles for £9. They're probably Chinese though, but
Yeah, peak truffle now, aren't we?
yeah.
It's mad.
So we got chickpeas in there, we got the cucumber, we got the onion, we got tomato. Now we could add lettuce, or you can just keep the lettuce, and when you come to eat it, you take the leaves of lettuce and you put some of that salad on top, and you go and eat it like that. That's really nice. So I'm going to keep the lettuce because it keeps better if it stays on the root. The other stuff will be fine. Now we want to dress that so that it's basically all we want to do. We want to have it all built up. And feta cheese, sorry, feta cheese is going to add that tartiness. It's going to add more protein as well. So I'm just going to crumble in the feta cheese on top. So we end up with all those. This one's not, yeah. The problem with not using the, not taking the labels off, you can't really see. But there you can see it's quite cool. You've got the different layers, but they're not all mixed up too much. If you got some fresh parsley, you can add that in as well. Chop that on top. I need to add one more tomato to this one. So yeah, I mean, just really coarsely chopping the tomatoes into big chunky dice. They go in, feta goes on. And feta is it's goat cheese, isn't it, feta?
It can be either goat or sheep or a mix of both.
Ah, okay.
The PDO specification isn't specific because it depends on what kind of milk they've got available when they're making it.
It's fairly salty in terms of salt content, but generally speaking, goat's milk is a little bit less lactose intensive, so it's a bit easier for most people to digest. Plus, because it's so dry, I think a lot of the fat's been taken out, and as a result, as such, it's quite rich in protein.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's good. That's right. You're bob on.
Right. Then we're gonna do a little dressing. You want to grab any of your bowls that you've already used, so you're not getting more dirty. One of these sessions where everything gets used, but it'll be worth it because it's going to be delicious. That's the timer going off for my eggs, but they're done, so oven can go off. So we're making a little dressing out of lemon juice. If you haven't got enough lemon juice, you can add some cider vinegar in there as well. I'm actually just going to add a teaspoon of cider vinegar. So I've got the juice of 1 whole lemon. You might need 2 if you've done 2 jars like I have. So I'm going to do that. 2 lemons. That's citrus. Fantastic. I'm going to add some chopped parsley in there as well. So just take a handful of chopped parsley, chop it roughly. It doesn't have to be finely chopped. The less fine you chop it, the better. A little bit of cider vinegar. And then olive oil, only olive oil. So 50% olive oil, 50% vinegar. We're actually making the triad of taste here, essentially. If you want to add some honey, it will add that sweetness. But don't go heavy on it because the tomatoes, the onions have already got that a little bit of sweetness. But the honey will go really well with the feta. And salt. But then again, the feta's got salt, but the dressing needs some salt. So that's all going in. We're going to whisk that up with the fork. and distribute that across the 3 or 2, however many you have. And then when you come to eat it, so hopefully you've left a bit of a gap in your container. When you come to eat it, you shake that up and then you pour it out and it should all just dress itself. That was the idea. Can't hear you, Mark. You're on mute. Oh, he's not talking to us. Okay. Talking to Aiden.
I'll be why.
That'll be why, exactly. Right. Now I'm going to put my granola into my jar here. So my granola should cool down. I'm just going to take some paper and create like a funnel. That way I can just pour the granola in and hopefully it won't go everywhere. So the only dish we haven't done yet is the poached, oh, sorry, the quinoa. Huh. The quinoa was meant to go through that salad. So to add extra protein. Now, you can sprinkle a little bit of that into the curry, if you like. So with the lentils, that'll be really nice as well. You can sprinkle a little bit of it into those salads. I mean, I've got a lot of quinoa. You probably have a lot of quinoa as well. The meat was also meant to go onto the stir fry. We haven't done the stir fry yet. So hold on, let me just get rid of the granola. I'm putting my granola into my jar, mason jar or kilner jar, whatever you want to call these. Did you get smoked salmon or did you get sardines, guys?
You know what? I didn't see that on the list. So I think I didn't send that to Sandy.
Okay.
I didn't notice it. Can you ask
So
Mom if she got sardines or smoked salmon?
That was I think it was optional, and it was to go with the avocado poached egg on toast. So what I was going to do now is I was going to pre-poach the eggs so that they're ready for the week, but everything else do on the day. So the avocado, you don't want to cut them today for tomorrow or even after tomorrow. It takes 2 seconds to cut an avocado, right? So all we're going to do is we're going to poach the egg. If you got sourdough bread, what I like to do is I always like to buy it, slice it, bag it up, freeze it. And that way it keeps its lovely moisture. You toast it straight from frozen. You mush your avocado on top of that. You put your poached egg on. And then if you want, or before the poached egg, you put smoked salmon or sardines. And you got a really yummy first bite of the day.
Chef Sandy, we seen this thing on how to poach an egg in a microwave. And it's like 26 or 32 seconds in a glass jar with a little bit of water, crack an egg in. And honestly, Chef, it comes out perfect. It's
really?
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow. I want to try that. So a little jar.
It's unbelievable.
And you drop the egg in it.
What's that, Chef?
So boiling water in the microwave. Is that like
No, just a little glass jar, the size you want your egg to fit in, with how much water? Not a lot, right? I think it's just like a half an inch of water, crack an egg in there, put it in the microwave. I think our microwave is like 32 seconds or 26 seconds, and it's amazing.
And no vinegar, and the yolk stays liquid and the outside is cooked.
Yeah.
The water is not boiling, it's cold water.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Okay. So I mean, could I use a sort of teacup like this where the egg can just fit in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I put a bit of salt. I don't remember.
Well, the salt you could always add.
I think I just cracked an egg in it, and then you've kind of top it up with water to like the top of the egg, or like just I think 1/8 over the egg, if memory serves. And then, yeah, my microwave is like 26 seconds, 26 or 32.
I've got a really strong microwave, so yeah, just cover it with water. Okay. I'm gonna do.
Right, Sandy, right? It's just water, no apple cider vinegar or nothing. Yeah, no, just water.
So the berries are also, they were for the granola and the yogurt, so you don't really need to do anything with the berries. They're just ready to go. So that was just to get you to buy berries. So you got berries, fresh yogurt, you got the granola. So the last dish we have to make are after we poach the eggs, is the chia seed porridge. Right. Oh, almost.
think they're done, okay?
That was 30, that was 30 seconds.
I'll bet you they're done.
I think it's gonna need 10
A little
more.
longer? Okay.
Or is it done? Let's see. 10 more seconds. I'm excited. Love a good hack.
The best hack I've seen, chef, all year. I don't know if you've seen it. I love hard-boiled eggs. Show you.
Oh, to peel them, yeah? The crack.
No, yeah, like this. Have you seen this? So you just do this. And then when you hear the audible change, then you boil it. There, I don't know, you guys couldn't hear it there. All of a sudden it goes, and then you hear an audible change. It goes thunk, and then it peels unbelievable. Feels perfectly.
So you crack it until you hear that, and then when you boil it,
No, you just tap it.
Okay.
You just tap it until you hear like that membrane separate,
Yeah.
and then you hard boil it.
Whoa,
and
love
and
that.
the egg peels off 100% perfect every time.
Wow. So poached
Yeah,
egg
I know.
looks pretty good. It's pre-poached.
Let me see. It does, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
that looks
so
great.
it's a little bit overcooked. So I did it 40 seconds because the outer layer wasn't quite done. So what I might try it with
Maybe less water, less time.
less water. No, I think more water.
Maybe it's a bit too much water. I don't know.
I think more
Okay,
water.
maybe more.
I think more
Yeah.
water because then it's completely covered. Which is I think what it needs. So let's try another one.
I think it was. Yeah, it does need to be completely covered. I think by 1/8 inch of water. 2 millimeters.
2 millimeters. Oh, it's really hard to gauge because
Two-
it
2
goes
millimeters, yeah.
underneath. But let's try again.
I would now get back out somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's covered. It's really hard to tell, but let's do it. Okay, next. I'm gonna eat this egg now. Ooh, that looks good. I've often microwaved eggs, but they've never come out as even. But it's
No.
definitely a quick hack. Right, chia seed porridge. That'll be the last dish. Obviously, you know your stir fry should be ready. You want to pack that up. You want to put your protein on top. And I mean, does your stir fry taste good? Have you tasted it? Mine tastes so good. How did your egg muffins come out?
Like this. I don't know if you can see that, chef.
Yeah, that's exactly like mine. Great. So now you just want to make sure you get them out nicely. If you put enough oil on, they should just pop out. See, mine are popping out, and they've got a really nice shape. They're really moist. I mean, right now they're raging hot, but you can reheat them in the microwave 20 seconds.
They ain't gonna last that long, are they, Greg? They're not gonna last that long.
The thing is, I got so much food. I'm gonna have to be okay. Well, 30 seconds wasn't. Maybe it is less water. I don't know. It's not working so well for me. Right. So these are still cooling down. Once they're cooled down, they're gonna go in a Tupperware container. So we're on to the chia seed porridge, guys. Yeah, too much water doesn't work either because then it needs to come up to the boil.
Okay.
So chia seed porridge. So chia seeds really bulk up. You want to take about half a cup of chia seeds, and you're going to end up with, you know, triple the size eventually. Now, the thing about chia seeds is they're really healthy, but again, in moderation. You start having more than 2 or 3 tablespoons per day, it's gonna bung you up. So this is for a couple of days worth. It's a snack. You know, when you're feeling like something sweet, you have a couple of bites of that and you wait a bit, and it really satiates you because they soak up water. It's really going to sit quite nicely in you. So we are going to take some almond milk. Hopefully this brand is fantastic because it doesn't have anything but almonds. You can use whole milk if you don't drink much whole milk anyway. What we want to do
Chef,
first,
I'm sorry, chef. How much chia seeds did you put in that container?
half a cup.
Half a cup. Okay.
It's going to triple. You're gonna end up with about 1.5 cups. And then we want to mix. I'm gonna blend the almond milk with the So you want about 1.5 cups of almond milk. So half a cup of chia seeds, 1.5 cups of almond milk, and to the almond milk, we're gonna add our medjool dates. So you want to blend them.
Add the what?
Medjool dates,
dates.
or any dates you got really. So I'm gonna take 2 dates and blend them up without the seeds. Take the seeds out and blend them up. If you got date syrup, you could use date syrup, but I'm just gonna blend these up roughly so there's a bit of fiber left. And that's gonna add sweetness to our chia seeds. Now, you can also add some flax seeds. So I've got ground flax seeds, so I like to add those in. So I'm going to add a little bit of that in. That's going to add protein. It's going to add that healthy fat.
How much?
How much what?
Flaxseed.
About 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Right, and then we quickly blend that up, and then we're going to add it to our chia seeds. When I say quick, I mean it's really quick, just enough to break up.
How many dates did you add, Chef?
2. You want to
Just
make sure
2, okay.
it tastes sweet. I'm going to blend it a little bit more.
Okay, I gotta disappear to the garage to blend this up.
Sorry?
That's all. Our blender's in the garage because it's so loud.
Okay, so what you
I'll be right back.
you can do that, or you can just mush it up with your hands as best you can. And then we stir that all, and then that's it. You let that soak overnight, and that's a really simple chia seed and date porridge. And to that, you want to add dried cherries, dried cranberries, fresh cherries, fresh cranberries, fresh berries, whatever you got, you know, just to add a bit of fruit. You know, even banana is quite nice. So I'm just going to stick that in the fridge as is, and that's my snack ready for when I get that sweet craving. Really quite satisfying. Right, well, that was a super long session. We went half an hour over, but we've cooked a lot.
So,
Now-
Chef, can I ask you a favor? So, we're doing this here with the chia seeds. This is soaking. I'm lost now, Chef. What am I?
Yes.
What's the?
So you
step
blended
after-
2 dates with almond milk,
Correct.
and you added those on top of your. So you've got half a cup of chia seeds, and you've got 1.5
Yep.
cups of almond milk mixed with,
Yep.
and you pour that over the chia seeds. You stir them.
Okay.
You put them in the fridge, and then tomorrow
Okay, that's it.
you're going to end up with something that's really spongy. So those chia seeds are going to soak up all that sweetened liquid, and
Okay.
it's gonna be a really yummy porridge consistency. Now,
And then you can add his berries and stuff like that to this. Is that what you're saying?
that you could cut like a slice of banana, stick it on top, and have it as a spoonful. As I said, 2 or 3 max. It's really tempting to eat the whole thing, but you'll feel a little bit too bloated if you have it all. So 2 or 3 is delicious and really healthy. But any more, you might have negative consequences. And yeah,
So how much? I'm sorry. How much should you? You should only eat how much a day?
2 or 3 heaped tablespoons of the soaked
Okay.
chia
Okay.
seed.
It's awesome. The lid.
And so it's a snack. You know, you rather than having a chocolate bar or you know whatever your sweet tooth is, that hopefully will just satiate you a
Sweet.
little bit.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah,
Chef. I got
it's
one more
a- it's
question.
a really
Sorry.
healthy sweet snack.
Thank you, Chef. One more question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
What do we do
please.
with all the quinoa?
What do we do with all the quinoa? Great question. So I'm going to add some of it to my lentils. So my
Okay.
lentil curry, especially if your lentil curry is really soupy, that'll help. Some of the quinoa is going to soak up that. Then, because quinoa is the perfect balance of carbs and protein, so it's a real superfood. You can eat it just by itself, but it's a little bit boring. I sometimes make a quinoto, which is like a risotto, but with quinoa. So you just add stock and you keep cooking it, and then you add any protein. You can add a little bit of butter, and that makes a really delicious, warm, creamy dish. But many places just add a spoonful to salads. So each of these salads, I'm going to add 1 spoonful of the quinoa mix. And that was the idea, really.
Okay.
So that way we're adding good carbs and protein to that salad. In hindsight, we should have cooked a lot less quinoa. But I'm super excited about this salad. So the liquid's all gone to the bottom. Those cucumbers that I put in first, they're gonna start to pickle a little bit. Then we got the onions. If they're covered in a bit of liquid, they'll pickle. Then you got the tomatoes that should be dry, the feta, and then you just shake it, top it, pour it out into a bowl. Boom, ready to eat and should be delicious.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, as I said, the poached eggs. So you can have a look on the app. I've got an egg poaching video on there. Or you can make scrambled eggs, or you can do the microwave eggs. The idea is really that you have avocado first thing. That should be your breakfast. Avocado is fantastic when you're breaking a fast. Egg is protein, also omega-3, good fats. You've got the good fats and the protein. Now, the sourdough bread isn't super to have, but if you need something filling because you're going to go to work or whatever, then have either sourdough bread, or I quite like these rice cakes. They're quite nice too. They'll fill you up and they're not too carby.
No.
And then if you want more protein, more omega-3, then you have the fatty fish like sardines. Salmon's a really good way of getting that into your weekly diet, because that's so important. The omega-3 is so important for our mental health. So we want to be getting that in almost daily, rather than using codfish, fish oil tablets. They're pretty good, but never as good as the real raw ingredient.
Awesome, chef.
Well, it's been a pleasure. First session of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let me know how these dishes go during the week, and how Aiden, if he eats, I mean, he's probably going to demolish them in a day, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, where? I need more food, Dad.
He's on his own now after this. This is his final meal.
Wow.
Love it.
Well, good luck,
That's awesome.
Aiden, with
Yeah,
the
thanks, Chef. I appreciate it.
the apprenticeship.
Thank you, chef. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah,
Thank you,
cheers.
guys, and see you next week.
See you later.
Yeah, you will.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Ciao.